doing laundry, and last minute, of course, because tomorrow, which is now today, we're going to New York City to do a record, and I feel prepared. I feel half prepared because a lot of the stuff is going to be banged out in the 2 days that we have before we start recording, and I've never heard the drummer before, and no one's really quite sure what the songs are going to be yet. We all have a good idea, and I'm signing my record deal on Monday, and we're going to start recording on Wednesday, so that's all kind of like a cluster of stuff that happens all at once. But that seems to be the way it works. So it's like 3 o'clock in the morning. I got a flight out at noon, and we're gonna go to New York City and make a record. The only title that I have in my head right now is "This Will All Make Perfect Sense Someday." I don't know what made me bring the video camera. I think it must have been because I knew it was such a big deal for me to make a record. I mean, that was my dream had come true when I was making a record. I still don't think about success in terms of money. I think about it in terms of the opportunity to make another record. And I'm glad I have that footage because that was a time in my life that, sadly, I'm never going to have again, where you have a blank canvas and you just start throwing paint down on it. You know, nothing was lost on me at that period of time. Nothing was taken for granted. Every last little corner of every experience was appreciated. And it's something I'll never have back again, but I have video of almost proof, you know. So anyway, this is the most hoity-toity hotel room I've ever been in. I'm a much more of a Ramada guy. Give me Spectravision. Anyway, I'm making a record. We're making a record. I grew up in Fairfield, Connecticut, which geographically isn't all that far away from New York, but I hardly ever went to the city. So my first real experience in New York City, other than school trips, was coming up to do music stuff. So I kind of began to see New York as the heart of the big time, you know, people getting stuff done, not just talking about it.
Yes, you got it. Hello.
Hey, what's up?
Good afternoon. Hi. I am so excited about this record. There are very few records in my life that I've actually had the chance to work on that I'm about ready to piss myself all over. Just because I'm so excited, I'm gonna piss myself. I will literally, you know.
So it's gonna be a good time, and we're gonna have a lot of fun. Yeah. Alasia and I were figuring out tempos for tunes as best we could so that we could have some kind of semblance of order in the studio. You know, I showed up at his apartment and I had a guitar and he had a little metronome. And we went through every song. We had a list too. There was a list, and on it was kind of like the main songs, and underneath it were some of the other tunes that I quite hadn't finished yet and actually never got finished. But every record has those songs. 3x5, I'm on the fence about.
Okay.
I think if we leave it off, it'll be a better song a year from now.
Now, what about Love Soon? Do you just decide?
Love Soon, I'm all about not having on the record. Well, see, why Georgia doesn't sell anybody that big because it's about the harmonies that don't. Like that chorus is going to be huge when those harmonies are. Georgia, why? That chorus is going to be with a tambourine.
It'd be like D'Angelo.
By the way, you know, people don't really like the few people that I've talked to about City Love. How do you feel about it? Seem to think the name Lydia is okay. People think that it's kind of copping out. The thing that I was struggling with was it was so specific to a woman named Lydia, who was John's girlfriend at the time. And that song is really all about what it's like to be in New York City and be subject to this kind of beautiful corruption of a woman. Not that that existed. And the struggle was, well, do I want to mention specifically the woman? In this argument, when you say, sit in love, you know, high as the sky above, and I can't remember life before her name. Her is a lot more artistic. First of all, like, you know it's a woman, or you kind of just get the whole sort of like
whole city
thing.
Yeah, sure.
And I remember flip-flopping, but I think the phonetics won out over anything else. That's just the way it sounded, you know.
I got a city love, found it in Lydia, and I can't remember life before her name, her name, her name, her name.
I think that very night that we had gotten together, John and I had gotten together, we had a little pizza party of myself, John Alasia, my lawyer, and my manager, and Greg Latiman, who runs Aware Records. And I had kind of turned the camera on to Greg without him knowing, as he was kind of talking about the mission statement, what it was I was going to do.
Dude, if you own your van and you can tour cheap, it's like we'll be able to be on the road forever and it'll happen. If it's like all of a sudden it's like $3 grand a week or $4 grand or $5 grand or $6 grand or $7 grand, then it's like we have to question shit. But between Michael, whoever your agent is, and myself, even if you couldn't draw, we can keep you on the road 12 months a year. It's like if you can keep doing that and keep building the net, it's like it'll go.
And I gotta say, he was dead on, you know? He was dead on. This really, for me, is about, from the beginning, knowing where you're trying to hit, spending all your time getting there, and then giving yourself a nice little pat on the back when you make it.
One thing about all this stuff that's very new to me is the fact that yesterday I was sitting in a room with 4 other grown men who were very good at what they do. And they were all putting their heads together to just think of stuff for me. Like, their job entails that they work their ass off to make sure my dream comes true. And that's weird.
When you first start walking in New York City, you're amazed at the solitude of it, because it really should be something that's over the top and overwhelming, because the buildings are tall and the people. But it's very. There's a lot of solace in it, you know. And I remember just accepting it and taking whatever it was that passed me by when I was walking on the way to the studio, into the studio. Looking back on it, such a real special discovery period for me, you know. It was my shot, you know. That's my shot. Room for Squares was my, all right, here we go. Here's where we see if I have it or not. And I was as interested as anyone else was to find out if I had it. So we're, first day of actual real tracking.
I'm still trying to get comfortable with this camera thing.
I'm still trying to get comfortable with this bass player thing. Loho is on the Lower East Side, and like most studios in New York, you don't know about it until you knock on the door, hit the buzzer, and then the door opens up, and inside of this old building is a beautiful new studio.
You getting warmed up to this, huh?
Mm-hmm. I'm trying. I'm working with you.
I didn't want to make my record in Atlanta because I live there.
Mm-hmm.
I want to. If we're gonna make a record, it's gonna be an experience, and I'm gonna. What are you doing?
Suppose I said the colors change. The words will go from poetry to prose.
It's actually kind of crazy because we're tracking before a record deal's even signed, which it makes me a little apprehensive, but onward and upward.
The drummer on the record is named Nir Z. He's played with Genesis, played with a whole bunch of great acts, and we were really lucky to get him. But here's a challenge of making my records. I might sit down and play a song on a guitar that has a certain feel. Oh, that's a reggae feel. Okay. Well, the natural inclination is to keep adding with that sentiment over and over again. So now the bass goes dum 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 dum, and now the drums want to go, you know. But I knew that wasn't the case.
One love will make it. Swimming a deep sea of blankets and take our big plans and break 'em. This is bound to be a while. Oh, yeah,
I wanted to make people just be like, oh, you know, and to do that, there has to be something of a bonehead kind of trancy drum part. That took a long time not to know that I needed, but it took a long time to articulate to somebody like Near that that's what I needed. Start from the song, beginning of the song on hi-hat, and come in. Check it out, just try it. Wonderland wasn't there until it made the people who were working at the studio, who were girls, like the girl interns, want to do this, like the girl dance. Because that's what I was going after with that song.
All right, you got my permission to breathe it. It's great.
But I learned in that record, I learned to just speak up. I learned when to speak up. I learned when to say, let them try it. We'll figure it out as we go.
Let's just listen to that from the top.
You got it.
And,
Hey, Greg,
I'll try and get some
can you make it
sticker.
not such a classroom in here with the lighting?
Oh, I couldn't hear.
Yeah,
Wouldn't that be
yeah.
great? Doesn't it feel like we're in like the DMV?
Edit.
Being in the studio, I really start to realize my age. Like, I feel young in the studio. I feel 22. I feel like, sometimes I feel like everyone else is relating on this 31-year-old like pro musician level, and I'm just sort of like that. Is this one beat too fast? It was really close to my birthday that year, and I think I signed the deal on my birthday while we had been in the studio for a couple days.
Enjoy being 22, because you know why?
Why?
Because you're going to be 23
On Monday,
on Monday. And then you know how old you're going to be next week?
23.
48.
Want to see breakdance move?
Where the hell are we? Yeah.
Check it out.
I got
It's actually the end of a combination. I don't know the other parts of it though. It's 6:50 on, what is it, Thursday? And Near is sick. And we're now trying to figure out all the variables and constants in getting another drummer in here. So as you can see,
We're working real hard getting that drummer.
so John went through his address book and came up with Darren Jesse from Ben Folds 5.
I wanna run to the halls of high school. I wanna scream at the top of my lungs. I just found out there's no such thing as the real world. Just a lie, got to rise around.
Darren came in and played on a couple of the songs. Near ended up coming back in and being the guy for those tunes. But it was a real interesting little sidebar.
Everybody's burned out. Everybody's burned out. Everybody's burned out. Let's go home.
So we're 2 weeks into the record, and we've got the tracks. Every measure of every tune is there.
I played a quick game of chess with a salt and pepper shaker.
And we were really lucky to have that, because making a record in that way, of doing basic tracks first, drums and bass first, and then overdubbing later on, if the first braid isn't right, the braid's not going to come out at all. So we were really lucky that, in terms of what I was expecting, it blew it out of the water. I mean, the record was there. You could hear the tracks. And the good thing about Near, the great thing about Near, and David Labriere, who still plays with me, who is as vital a part of my sound as anything is, they really filled these tracks with moments. There hadn't yet really been any guitar moments or piano moments or vocal moments or lyrical moments, but there were drum and bass moments, there were rhythmic moments. And that made it really, really exciting. I felt like, okay, so far so good.